Embarking on a new career is always exciting. Today you're joining the list of people who work on the railways, keeping the world's people and cargo running smoothly. There's a lot to learn, but you'll be taking it step by step. Let's start by looking around. Find each of the markers and look at them. Before you get to the trains, take a quick tour of the facility here and learn the basics of moving around on foot. Your current objective is shown in the top left of the screen. You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience level for the game. This is one of the many route tasks you can discover. Keep an eye out for other tasks that will ask you to place, collect, or fix a variety of things. Walk over to the waiting area. You can pause at any point to review objectives and a lot of other information about what's happening at the moment. Try it now and then return to the game after you've had a look round. Now that you've covered some of the basics of moving around and interacting with the environment, let's take a walk through the building and find the trains. This is Central Square. From here you can explore the main training centre depot and surrounding yards. Your journey operating trains is just getting started here at the training centre. Remember, you can always come back here from the main menu to refresh your knowledge if you're unsure about anything.
Muito interessante.
In this training module, you'll learn about the on-screen overlay known as the heads-up display, or HUD. You'll see it when you're in control of a train. You can configure a range of parameters for the HUD that affect how it looks in the game settings. In this tutorial, you're going to take a look at the two main types of HUD and make a first choice of which one you prefer. Get started by climbing up the ladder into this train and welcome to the most important seat in the train. Before you can start learning how to make the train move, you're going to need to understand what the HUD is telling you. There are three types of HUD. The one you're seeing now is the normal HUD. You'll learn that first, and then take a look at the minimal HUD next. There is also a simple HUD, which is essentially a cut-down version of the normal HUD. The HUD is a guide to show you what the train is doing, how you're doing, and what your next objectives are. You can tune what's shown here using the game settings. The main part of the normal HUD is the speed display in the bottom right. Your current speed is indicated by a white bar that will appear on the outside of the speedometer, and there is a red mark that indicates the maximum permitted speed.
Goodbye.
This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate the forward, reverse, and neutral directions. A cross, or X, means the reverser is currently either not inserted or in the off position. This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power or throttle control is in. If the display is white, it refers to power. If the display is yellow, it means powered braking or dynamic braking. If the display is red, then the throttle is currently locked out and you will need to take steps to release the lock before power can be applied. You can learn about troubleshooting elsewhere in Training Center. These are the brake indicators. The exact one shown will vary by train and will often be visible in the train itself on the various gauges. These gauges tell you what is happening in the braking system. The most important one is the BC or brake cylinder. In most trains, when this reads 0, that means the brakes are released. Anything else, and the brakes are applied.
Okay.
In the top right is the track monitor. This shows you the line ahead and allows you to see all the signals and speed limit changes that you're approaching. By default, the track monitor shows the signals with their actual red, yellow, or green aspect. But when you get more confidence, you can hide this information via an option in the game settings. As you accelerate, the track monitor will extend its look-ahead distance so you can see much further ahead at higher speeds. This is all done automatically. Now that you're familiar with the normal HUD, it's time to take a look at the minimal HUD. You can change this via the game settings, but for this tutorial, the game will change it automatically. You can see that most of the HUD is now gone. You are left with basic information in the top left corner. The minimal HUD immerses you in the experience of driving the train. Use the train's real gauges as much as possible. In the top left corner, you will see the information about your next objective and some limited information about what the train's doing, such as your current speed, the speed limit, and the gradient. Use the game settings to add and remove information from the minimal HUD. With less information, you'll find driving more challenging, but also more immersive and rewarding. Experienced players might prefer the minimal HUD, especially when driving from the cab view. The normal HUD is ideal for newcomers or anyone who wants to drive from an external camera. You can switch HUDs in game settings. Do you want to start with the normal HUD or minimal HUD?
Normal.
That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.
Muito bem.
In this training module, you're going to learn how to make a train move and then bring it to a stop. For this exercise, you'll be using a British Class 323 electric multiple unit. It's a great train to get started with as the controls are quite straightforward. This module will get you used to the feel of the train and its controls. While many trains have different controls and are operated in different ways, there are basically always 3 controls that are common and are required to move the train. The reverser chooses the direction you're going to move in. It often has 4 positions: off, forward, neutral, and reverse. The brakes are used to slow or stop the train. There are potentially multiple braking systems you can find in different trains, and you can read more about that in other sections of the training centre. For now, the Class 323 has a very simple braking system. The throttle controls how fast the train accelerates. In this train, the throttle and brakes are controlled by a combined power and brake handle. Moving the handle in one direction will apply power. The middle position is neutral and does nothing, and then the other range applies the brakes. You will find in some other trains that the throttle and brakes are on separate handles. Before you go any further, set the headlights for daytime running and ensure the tail lights are off. We want to move the train forwards, so set the reverser to the forwards position. Now pull the combined power and brake handle towards you to release the brakes and apply power. In the bottom right and in the centre of the speedometer gauge, you can see a little ball. This is the accelerometer and will move up or down to indicate whether you're speeding up or slowing down. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to the center position. The train will then coast on it. When it comes to stopping trains, the specifics of each train can be quite different. However, the basic process is fundamentally the same. Bring the The amount of braking you will need to apply also varies depending on whether you're going uphill or downhill and how heavy your train is. Knowing the right amount to apply will come with practice and experience. Stopping a train is one of the biggest challenges of controlling it, particularly stopping it in the right place. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.
Muito bem.